Hi, this is Meg from Permacoach and we're back looking at rainbow rug making using repurposed materials to turn them into beautiful rugs. So in this video I'm going to show you how to increase the number of tapes that you're working. You can just work the rug using a simple 3-stranded plait, but if you add in, it saves you a lot of time because you're working 4, 5, 6 or even wider, and so that means each time you come around the circle you've got a nice wide band. So come over here and have a look and I'll show you what we're doing. So here's the pattern for this particular rug. I'm going, the one I'm calling is the red one, so I'm going under and then I'm going over, and I always put it up there. This makes a big difference when you start working multi-strand. You're not likely to lose your place when you're just working 3, but when you get up to 5 or 6, having this one up like that helps you not to lose your place. I'll work another round, pull this one through. So I go under, then over, and then pull this one through. And remember, you're looking at where this one wants to go. It's a bit too hard of an angle if I go into the next loop, so I'm going to go back into the same loop and bring it in so that it sits underneath the last one. I'll do one more before I show you how I join in. So you can see how that came down a little bit loose there. That's why keeping it up like that. But the other way you track is to look at where did the last one go. So you can see this last one went over, and that lets me know that this time I need to go under and then over. So it's always under, over, under, over. Now it doesn't make any difference whether you go over first or under first, and you can also work it in this direction if that works better for your hand. So it's the same pattern. You either go over or under and loop through. So now I'm going to show you how I join in, and you start the pattern but you don't do the loop through. So let me just get back to where we were, and we go under and we go over, and normally this red piece of tape would now loop through the yellow, but instead of doing that I'm going to add an additional tape in so that I'll be plaiting with 4 instead of 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is taper off one end of this tape just to make it a little bit thinner. And that end is going to be woven into the back of the rug. And the only reason for making it thinner is it's just going to have less bulk. So that should do me. Then what I'm going to do, so normally I would be bringing this red one up through the yellow, and instead of that I'm just going to lay the blue down and pull it through as if it was my next tape. So you can see I've got the end I'm going to weave back in is off to this side, and I'm going to pull all of that through. Then I turn this over and just weave this in. I've mentioned before I like to use a crochet hook. I do a lot of crochet, but you can just as easily do this using your fingers. You don't work the plait very tight, you keep it fairly loose. So to show you, these lift up quite easily and you can just thread that back in. I find that around about, threading it back in for around about 3 loops works pretty well, and it's a good idea to come around the corner like that. Now I don't want to put too much of it woven back in. Pardon my cat in the background. Harry. So instead what I'll do is I'll tuck that end in, and then I'll just ease all of this back towards where I was so that it sits quite nicely and so that I make the best use of that tape. So you can see that's like round in a little square back to this edge. And now we turn it over. And I now have 4 strands instead of 3. Now the thing to notice here, you can see how having that one up's made it easy for me to find my place. But the thing to notice here is I was going under then over. When you put a new piece of tape in, you're going to change your pattern. So the first one is to go over. instead of under. So we go over and then under and then over, and we park that one up the top and we pull this one through. And then once again, instead of under, we're going to go over. And if you've forgotten, just have a look at the one before and go, well, that one went under, so this one needs to go over, then under, then over, and move that one up to the top. And you can see how we've very easily added in a fourth strand. You need to keep checking back through the plait and working that nice and flat. So now I've got 4 strands. I find when I add in, the best idea is to go all the way around once before I add another strand in, at least once. You can do it 2 or 3 times. Otherwise your circle starts to get a little bit distorted. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back when we're ready to add in another piece of tape.